Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching the European Development Championship. It's Season 1, all brought to you by Gaming Malta, a home of gaming excellence. We've seen a splendid first map already, 16-14. What didn't go to Illumina is maybe a lot expected. Forza, massive comeback. We might see another one here. Endpoint versus Budapest 5. Another good matchup, Josh.
It absolutely is, yeah. Endpoint, one of the most exciting teams in Europe, I'd say, right now. They've gone on an absolute tear in the last sort of 6 months. In fact, really, the last year has been the progression of their climb, trying to make it to that HLTV top 30. They've now just about breached that marker, reached that milestone. Of course, most notably, very, very recently, getting into the ESL Pro League, very narrowly beating Sprout in those MDL finals. I mean, they've just been an incredible team recently. Since that additions of Flames as well, they've just been on a tear. Flames is such a talent, and I think that they're just a really exciting team. I always love to cast them.
Yeah, I love to cast him as well. This year could have been even better. Remember, just one best of 3 away from getting through to Flashpoint 2. That would have been a massive result for them. I think they would have probably done quite well at that tournament. Nevertheless, they have to do well at this one, and it all starts with a best of 1 on Dust 2. I would say a pretty good map here just for both teams. All saying that, we haven't really seen Budapest 5 play a lot of Counter-Strike at all. They're one of the underdog teams in this tournament. For Endpoint, one of their better maps. They've won it 10 out of the last 17 times. That's in the last 3 months. I would say that that would be floated very potentially as the third map in a best of 3 if these two teams played it. They might get the chance to if they get through to that decider match. Obviously, it's just a best of 1 to start. And Endpoint, you see, those para match odds, firm favorites here today.
Absolutely, and I think they're completely right too. I actually have no idea how we've ended up on Dust 2 when you look at these picks and bans. Nowhere near what I anticipated. Of course, Budapest 5, besides their perma-ban of Overpass, Dust 2 is actually their worst and least played map. So I don't really get it. They've initially banned out. I suppose it kind of makes sense when you kind of go through it. You realize they ban out Train, that's Endpoint's best map. Then they have to ban out Inferno, which is Endpoint's second best map. And after Mirage and Nuke gets banned, then they're left with Dust 2. But it's really shaky territory for Budapest 5. And being the underdogs in a map, regardless of what map you're playing on, I think that that's going to be really, really difficult going on to a Dust 2 that you're not too happy with.
Yeah, and you mentioned 4 maps there as well, and that's without even mentioning their permaban of Overpass, which they're getting rid of every single time. So in a series like this, you'd never want to be playing maybe 5 maps in the pool against Endpoint. And of course, when you've only got 3 bans behind you, it means you're always going to be on pretty tricky territory. In a series like this, I think Endpoint pretty much firm favorites. They obviously have the mobility and versatility to have that AWP most of the time. I think Dust 2 is actually one of the harder maps to actually beat Endpoint on personally. I think if you go towards one of the more strategical maps, you might have a better chance. But we see that Budapest 5 don't really favor those maps either. They've played a little bit of Vertigo, a little bit of Train, a little bit of Nuke. So those maps are pretty much going to be taken out of the equation a lot of the time. I'm surprised that we don't see Train picked in a series like this. That's what Endpoint go towards the majority of the time. Best of 3 series at least. In best of 1s, though, it's often a little bit mixed match, and just deciding that maybe Budapest 5 don't play any Dust 2, we can easily beat these guys on this map. It's often a good map to even warm yourselves up on early morning. Obviously, it's 10 o'clock in the UK, so they've all had their Weetabix, I'm sure, and they'll get into this series and try and warm up on Dust 2 before they potentially play a best of 3 coming up, obviously against Forza.
Yeah, that's going to be the big game, isn't it? That's going to be the big, important series that they'll be looking to win. And when you look at Endpoint's recent results on Dust 2, they're pretty fantastic on it. Of course, they have had some closer games. They've had some wins as well against some less notable teams. But I think most notably, they took 2 map wins on Dust 2 against Mouse Sports. They took the map again on Dust 2 against North. And then a couple of really dominant wins against Galaxy Racer, Sinners. They're sort of 16-5, 16-3s. These rosters coming up on your screen. As I mentioned before, this Endpoint roster, the core 4 have been together for quite a long time now. And that addition of Flames.
He's got the lower lip bite going on as well.
The lower lip bite?
Yeah. Has he not? I thought his lips pursed. I thought he's like slightly biting his lower lip. It looks like a bit more inwards than the others.
Maybe it's an intimidation thing.
It could be. It could very easily be intimidation tactics coming into the server today. You always know somebody with that lower lip bite looking confident. That's a signal, a mating signal of confidence.
Maybe just a universal confidence signal. Alrighty, well, let's hope that he's got that confidence as we get into Dust 2. Kick things off in the pistol. Endpoint going for a pretty standard defense. That 2-1-2 setup. Budapest 5, slow default. Presence towards those lower B tunnels. The long tunnels too. The bomb over towards top mid. Might actually get spotted by Mighty Max here, and if it does, that could cause him some problems. Not swinging wide enough for it, though. He's forced right back from the flash.
Towards the middle of the map. You thought that maybe Mighty Max might have over-invested and over-engaged into that one. Instead, it's just Robin looking out towards a long Flav there to try and challenge him, playing this one very passive. That might actually bait him away from this position and leave him diverted between both of these angles. They want to set up a crossfire to deal with these pair of long players, but Robin not looking for it, and that leaves Pit very isolated for Crucial to also fall. Bomb goes down, 2 drop for Endpoint, and this will be a tough, tricky retake back into the pointy letter with the USPSs. They need to get up close and personal to contest these angles. I just don't even know if it's possible. Flash through, doesn't do anything. And yes, even though they do find Coolio, it's with all of the damage dealt and taken, and Flames needs one of the rounds of his life. Quick kills. Where's the follow-up? Runs out of ammo, reloads through, but taken down by Torzi. And B5 with a pistol.
Couple of pretty sensational headshots right at the end there, but of course it's not going to be enough. And that's the danger you face when you completely give up short control like that and your mid players force back. That's really a major issue. If you're playing that 2-1-2 setup and then your 2 A players are actually heavily contesting long control, your mid man's flashed off the angle and has to fall away, then Budapest 5 are just given a free short and catwalk to take. And they're going to seize that every single day of the week and get onto that bomb site and get that C4 planted before they're even contested. Early damage dealt here in the second. Of course, an investment here from Endpoint, but only the pistols, a scout on Crucial to work with. It's going to be a tricky round to pick up.
Certainly will be. Robin, he's often the aggressive threat on this CT side for Endpoint. Again, sending him towards short. Doesn't take any damage, not getting spotted. Those smokes towards the middle of the map and the nade shouldn't be able to do too much damage, just a tickle onto Cola and Corey.
Oh, this scout got himself a nice angle, but the flash forces him away and Budapest 5 come out on top.
Smoke placed as well. That forces them back, and with Crucial still low on HP, should be an easier round for Budapest 5 to take. They don't really even need the long control, remember, with Flames now just holding it, isolating Coolio. Takes a lot of damage in that engagement. Yes, it's Endpoint's first frag, but a 4 versus 4 and all across this map stretched, and Flames challenge for the punch once again against Coolio, who's low on health, so only needs to connect 1 body shot in this one. The angle being checked, he gets his head ripped off, and that really does isolate everything towards the A bomb site. Scout needs to find a body shot here, otherwise a very hard round to convert. Crucial, he's been baited for so long here. He can't actually hold the A bomb site whatsoever, and even though Mighty Max does find a shot there, this still should be the hold up to force Endpoint into another eco round. It'll be Mighty Max trying to fend off the forces. Couple of low HP players to try and get the job done. If you can find a couple of shots onto Corey, then this then becomes possible, but so hard to do here on the A ramp, especially with no kits in play. Fast headshot, the others shouldn't peek, and this bomb has been ticking for so long. That Molotov confirms it, and even though Mighty Max does the damage, Flav should still survive.
Ooh.
Should.
Oh, wow. That's a bit awkward. Crucial. Unable to connect any of those shots. That is going to be a rifle carried across, but a lot of damage dealt. So that's not the outcome that Endpoint are hoping for. When you go for that second round force, you are actually expecting to win the round, but the damage dealt keeps that Budapest 5 economy honest. And moving forward into this next, they're going to have to fully reinvest just to get those weapons out. So they'll have no money moving forward. Of course, this should be a flawless round for them, so they'll have an opportunity to rack up some cash. Let's see pistols do some damage, which so far they are doing quite nicely.
Yeah, Robin's always so good with those pistols. He has been for years. And with the flank placed as well, Surreal should be a kill there. It is acceptable around there for Endpoint. So they do sweep away 2 of those weapons, of course. Not really rifles in a lot of these scenarios. There's the trade up 3-0. Exactly what we saw in that first series of the day as well. And those Paramatch odds still heavily favoring Endpoint. Just a couple of rounds of B5's favor won't change that. Remember, there's a banner down below in those Twitch streams, so you can get full advantage of those deposit bonuses, Josh. 25 euros, of course.
Aggression towards Long. Flames completely dodges the flash, plays around the smoke perfectly, and there is absolutely nothing that Torzy can do in that situation as they try and bombard their way out of Catwalk. This is where the big rifles start to cause problems for this T side. Straight off the bat, they lose 2 men, and I think they're starting to realise that that kind of pace doesn't work when you're against the M4s and the AWP. That only works when you're against pistols.
And these standard rounds from Budapest 5 are going to become increasingly harder to win if they don't have an actual strategy in mind. I think at Endpoint, they're definitely good enough to trade effectively and evenly on this CT side. Even this one, looking like it could be convincing. They obviously want one to gain that money, build that bank. It's that new M4A4 that apparently on the rear actually says the wrong version of the Japanese, I assume, version of magazine. It says paper magazine instead of gun magazine.
Ah. It is pretty cool, though. I like it.
So some skin creator out there has been on Google Translate, typed in magazine, got the wrong version. Stuff with it, of course. It should be a complete shutdown as Mighty Max and Surreal both burst all of the bullets out of their magazines to take the round there, and both AKs actually carried across.
Yeah, that's pretty impactful, especially on this CT side when you've got 3 AKs in play, accompanied by that AWP. You really do have a hell of a lot of firepower to work with. In Budapest 5, they're actually already down to an eco. This is what I was talking about before. In those rounds, like the second round, where they lost almost every man, it does just mean that it only takes 1 round loss to completely reset you. So this is almost certainly going to be a second on the board here for Endpoint. Good ticket back in, and then if they win the buy-up, they should be able to take the lead.
This is where they need convincing rounds, though. They've taken 1. That gains them a couple of $1,000. This will be the important one, though. Without the massive need to throw all of that utility in a round like this, they do need to prevent the pistols from getting perhaps a bomb plant. That would be extra cash for Budapest 5. And as they head towards short, damage onto Mighty Max. Now want to challenge, maybe not that AK-47, but instead the less favourable M4s on this A-bomb site. That AWP as well will always be a threat. Crucial changes his angle. He's mix matching it between long and short. Here should come the push, and that, oh, Nay doesn't do nearly as much damage as I thought. Not as deep as expected. Crucial still this angle place. The run boost will come through. It's going to be such a hard shot to hit and maybe even divert his attention. There's the flick. Doesn't quite land it. Corey here all the way onto the A site already. And where is the C4 here? The nade's going to dunk. So as Robin finds one, the AWP in the open, he needs to find everything right now. And as those Molotovs finally do dissipate, Crucial nails his first shot of this series. Best of 1. There's another one. Torzy Coolio not doing too much damage here. They haven't found a single kill yet. As Coolio hits a consolation frag. And Endpoint up to 2.
A lot of damage dealt. You see Mighty Max, Flames, and Robin all down to only a slither of health. So there's definitely a world where Budapest 5 do a lot of damage, get that bomb plant, and have a fantastic round. Nonetheless, the bomb plant really was the goal there, and they achieved it quite nicely. They really shouldn't be allowed to get away with as much as they did there. Full eco up against the weapons to be able to just blitz straight up Catwalk and actually get that C4 down. Definitely allowed more than they should have been. Nonetheless, here in the CeX, they've got plenty of money to work with, especially with that extra cash from the C4 going down. They have this AWP, they have these AKs, loads of utility to work with, and Fleeve, just a little jiggle peek, baits out the Molotov. That should have been enough. He should have just fallen away there and cost his opponent $600, sorry. But instead decides to swing into it, and that's his demise.
Nade usage doesn't connect with any damage. It's Budapest 5 a player down. Flav already gone. He's 5-4, so top fragger here for B5, and definitely a big man to take down. This time the rifle round. Torzy back in AWP. Molotov's through. Not going to be impactful. That's only just a force crucial off if he is holding that corner. He isn't. Should be a B split. Just got Mighty Max here watching the tunnels once again. He's played this position pretty much every single round. Already found a frag from it, so they should know that he's playing fairly aggressive, and they don't spot him rotating over towards this corner. So the swing out, they know exactly where he's playing from. Smoke goes through as well, and this pre-fire not successful as him and Surreal spray everybody down. The AK is going to good work here. There is a double order if they want it. Of course they don't. It's 3-3 Endpoint. As they've won these rifle rounds, 2 of 3 of which has gone their way. Here are those paramatch odds again, and Endpoint solidifying that lead.
Absolutely, yes. They've started to pull it back and bring the scoreline back to 3-3. You do see them tilting further in their favour. Massive favourites here on Dust 2. Here in round number 7. Massive favourites to take this round as well, of course, as they just face up against what will be an eco here from Budapest 5. Maybe a couple of pistols come out, but that'll be about it. That was such a solid B defense, actually. Finding all of the kills, having a pretty much flawless round there. That's just perfectly played from Mighty Max. Cannot fault what they're doing whatsoever. Budapest 5 really, really struggling to find a lot here in these buy rounds. There we go, just the pistols. Kevlar on a couple of players, a little bit of utility. I can't imagine they get much more than a couple of frags here, though. Really hoping for a bomb plant to give them some extra money to work with.
I wonder if Mighty Max plays such an aggressive angle knowing that the Molotovs probably are out of commission in a low buy round like that. Feels to be the case. This, a total shutdown. The flash does find some success, allowing Coolio another kill, but surely no bomb plant here. That Molotov doesn't do anything. The nade certainly should. Bang. 29 HP as Robin should be able to spray and pray this one down. Endpoint take the lead for the first time. And all off the back of these setups, to be perfectly honest with you. That double sat man piece towards the B bomb site seems to be paying dividends. Mighty Max, a grand job. He's leading the scoreboard 9-4.
Well, an acceptable round there from Budapest 5. They found themselves 2 kills, but at this point, that isn't massively relevant. They were hoping for the bomb plant to give them some extra money. Not doing so means that they have a little bit of a lack of utility on a couple of these guys. Oh, aggressive play. Corey, it's not going to pay off for him. He gets punished for it. They do take this long control, though, but as players are falling like flies, Budapest 5 not off to the best of starts here in round number 8. And look at that money from Endpoint 2. You've got to keep an eye on it because it grows greater and greater every single round. And now they've got this double AWP setup, and we draw deeper into this first half. Budapest 5 certainly have to start being worried about how many buy rounds their opponents can actually pull out before their economy's broken.
And Surreal actually picked up that AWP, leaving an M4 on the floor. So obviously wanting to put all of his cash into that investment, knowing that they've got plenty for later on. If they were low on HP or low on money, they definitely wouldn't be going for that. And definitely, all successful, almost a collateral there as well. Heavy damage dealt, the flank in full effect, and that nature just finished Kohler off. It does, leaving just Flav versus 4. And he's not going to be able to do anything. Look at that running shot from Flames. That's why he's most touted player, definitely in the Israeli scene right now. And unbelievable shot there from the AK.
Yeah, absolutely. There's that Hellcase banner coming up on your screen. Make sure you use that code to get your 15% refill bonus. Hellcase.com. Get what you deserve.
That case can be found down in the banners below on the Twitch stream as well. So we've always got that. 5-3 though, Josh. Another potential eco round. I expect this to be a half buy. This is B5's second tactical timeout that they've called. What would you be talking about?
You would say, okay, we've taken 3 rounds. This is good.
You only do one accent, don't you? Only one accent.
That's it. I don't know. I don't know how you do a what they Hungarian. I don't know how you do a Hungarian accent. I think it probably is just Okay, guys.
Nah, anything that I do would be just offensive, I think. Just you shouldn't do accents that you can't do, especially if you're me as well. If you fully commit, because what you're doing is you're half committing. You're not going to offend anybody there. You're kind of on the fence. But for me, if I went for full commitment, I could try, but wouldn't be good for anybody. Molotov kill out of nowhere, and this B bomb site accidentally quick switching to the knife. That's unfortunate for Mighty Max. And Robin is already hot on their heels with a retrieved AWP in the hands of Color. Loves to use it, doesn't get naded for very much damage, and the smokes are down. Endpoint want to go for this one, knowing that potentially they're up against unarmored opponents. They're up against at least one. That's Causey. Doesn't stop him finding shots. Robin fully blind, able to find a last bullet headshot onto Flav. D equals out, and now Crucial needs to find the shot and does. It's a wallbang to finish. What a retake for Endpoint. Way harder than it looks.
Yeah, that's absolutely fantastic. We always talk about the B-bomb site on Dust 2 being the hardest site to retake in probably out of all of the 7 maps, to be honest. And they do so quite nicely there in that 3 versus 3 situation, and those power match odds, well, that gap is just extending further and further, isn't it? 1.05 for Endpoint, Squid.
Very, very one-sided indeed. I must say that I would say that this series is a little more up in the air than that, but Endpoint definitely firm favourites. I won't take it away from them. We'll see. Maybe the bettors especially deciding that Dust 2, B5 don't look too good. Endpoint, of course, 6 rounds in a row. Could certainly be more here, especially if Surreal finds these mid shots. Corey, not quite through yet as that flashbang pops. Surreal will go for the peak. There's a smoke right through it, and that nade looks perfect. Does so much damage. Kolor down to 27 already. Very well coordinated from Endpoint to force them into the secondary AWP. It's crucial again. Him and Surreal just seem to be covering everything here. And walking into these snipers on every single approach, and should happen right now as well. He has a flashbang to bail him out of trouble. Shot does connect there. Torsi eliminated. And even more damage potentially to be dealt as he's pulled away. He's got full ramp control and flames here as well. Surprise, surprise. They absolutely annihilate the rest of them. And now Flav has a decision on his hand. Pushes through the smoke. That should cost the AWP and does. Endpoint 7 in a row. See massive CT sides today, Josh, and this is shaping up to be another one.
Yeah, this is just pretty flawless here from Endpoint. Another perfect round, keeping 4 alive, keeping Budapest 5 at an arm's length, and that nade damage early on, just adding insult to injury. I feel like Counter-Strike, it obviously wouldn't be the same if the nades did more damage, but if you get a nade that lands right on your noggin, you definitely wouldn't still be walking.
You wouldn't. You'd be probably holding your head.
You would be gonzo. You would be in a million pieces.
I do feel like 100 damage nades in Counter-Strike. Sometimes they do land, like once in a blue moon, if you've not got any body armor. Sometimes with just body Kevlar, you can do a lot of damage. They're always so frustrating to play against. I feel like 100 damage nades would be an awful idea.
Oh, definitely.
They have got exceptionally close to this A-bomb fight, by the way. And yes, they have all of the building blocks, and maybe it just won't matter anyway. Where are the smoke grenades, Josh? They're just nowhere to be found. Nice fling, but it's way too late. Of course, he does get traded, and Flames just finishes off the rest. It's sensational stuff. AK picked up. He wants to switch to the double AWPs, probably to drop to Crucial there. But Endpoint are just doing everything, and Budapest 5 didn't even have the smokes for the cross. So I'm starting to get very scared for them.
Yeah, I really didn't understand that. They were gifted long control. They took it, of course. That should be a really good opportunity for you to actually get onto that A-bomb site at the very least. Flav even had a secondary smoke to deploy there, and he just didn't throw it. So a massive gap, but oh my. What an opener. Beautiful 1D from Corey, and that is actually going to give them an AWP. So playing your AWP that aggressive with no support, that can sometimes be the cost. I'm not sure if Corey will be able to single-handedly win the round with it.
That 1D was so quick, it forced a seagull noise out of my body. I couldn't even stop it. No control over that. Oh. Maybe I have a seagull living inside me. That's why I like to steal people's food and squawk.
And he loves Counter-Strike, and whenever he sees a nice shot, he's like, wow.
Wow, is that a seagull noise? I went, oh. I think a seagull goes, cuckoo, cuckoo.
Does he? I thought they made like a really annoying noise. I thought they literally went like, ah, ah. I thought that's what noise they make.
Those seagulls should get vocal coaching. 40 seconds left. B bomb site seems to be able to fight, and well, crucial. That's such a fast shot, isn't it? Does get traded out there by Corey again, who's doing sensational work with that Desert Eagle and needs even more. It's going to be the AWP instead to force Endpoint out of this B bomb site. It's fallen now for the second time, and Flav wants everything with the sniper. Of course, with Tawdsy dead, he's going to take over those AWPing duties. He's actually putting them to great use. Corey already 2 opening frags with that Desert Eagle and looking for even more in the upper B tons. Robin might not even check this corner. Should definitely do so. Fast flick. Takes him down to 50, though. That might just signal his exit away from this B bomb site. Doesn't want to go for this one. It will be a 4th round on the board for Budapest 5.
Well, I don't want to be the man to say it, but I feel like Crucial really was the key factor in this round. The one that might have just lost it for Endpoint. Getting super aggressive with that AWP early on. I did say I'm not sure how much impact they'll be able to have just with that single AWP. I was absolutely wrong. They get the job done. They get onto that B site. That's going to be Budapest 5's 4th round on the board. Of course, they're not in the clear yet. They do have to face up against another full investment here from Endpoint. They've got plenty of cash behind them to continue to buy. However, trailing by 4, they win this next one. They could definitely put up an acceptable scoreline here.
Yeah, they'll more than likely have enough money to buy into the next as well. You see $5,000 or more on Surreal, Robin, Mighty Max. They've got plenty of cash for these upcoming situations. They'll probably be buying until the very end. 1 minute 30. Also watching out towards mid, waiting for an overzealous peak. It won't come. Endpoint playing these bomb sites with only the single man Robin towards the counter-terrorist spawn.
Well, they've taken this long control once again, but look at Endpoint. They want to snatch it back, and as the flash goes over, this could be a complete bloodbath. They swing into it, and the trades come through. And actually, Budapest 5, ever so slightly coming out on top.
Oh, Crucial actually finds 2 kills in the meantime, though. He is stuck behind that car, but now has full bomb control. Can swing out for it. Flav drops, knows where the second man is. That's Coolio in the open, who is able to finally take the AWP down. Might be too little too late. A 1 versus 2, and needs both of these shots. It will be the double peak from Endpoint. Look at that teamwork. An instant swing from the man with the big brain, Mighty Max. That will be 9-4 on the board here for Endpoint, as they are not allowing Budapest 5 to chain together rounds whatsoever. I said this will be a buy from Endpoint. It'll actually be a very good one.
Yeah, that AWP retrieved too right at the end there. Mighty Max just making sure he darts in and snatches it so they don't have to reinvest. That is just a sensational round from Crucial. If he drops there, Budapest 5 can deploy those cross smokes, get onto that A site, and you're looking at probably a 3 versus 2, maybe even a 4 versus 2 situation post-plant. But instead, he's just able to continue to peek out, peek out, peek out. Budapest 5 should be able to take him down, but Crucial's just too quick. Every single shot is lightning fast, and there's just nothing the Hungarians can do. And now they're down to, well, it's a full investment, but Galil on Coolio, limited utility on Tawdsy, and Kolar, in fact. Certainly not the healthiest of buys.
Endpoint just a very stable team with great fundamentals. They've actually got the highest nade damage per player in this whole group. We'd be expecting them to be on those practice servers. We haven't seen crazy high nade damage thus far. Surreal does do that preliminary damage this time, though. Looking for 10 rounds in double digits on this counter-terrorist side of Dust 2. That'd be a massive half. How often do we see 7 to 8? 9-6 being maybe the best scoreline that a lot of teams ever really achieve. Endpoint going for a lot more here, and their T side definitely isn't lackluster either. Tawdsy will be looking for this Mighty Max head glitch angle. Not the easiest shot to nail, especially when you're playing it up close and personal as well. You only see the very tip of the CT shoulders. Not much information there. This will be the mid split in Endpoint. They've dealt with this a couple of times now. The Molotov and the flash over the top. Here comes the utility there as Coolio's already in behind. Mighty Max able to find him in the meantime and hiding behind these boxes, staying alive momentarily. Means that only Torzy has to move through, and Surreal's able to find two. Knows where Flame's playing from as well. Through this smoke, does get taken down. But they know exactly where he's playing from now, and this head glitch angle won't be enough to merit him the round. It'll be double digits for Endpoint as that B shut down very, very tight.
As you watch that unfold from a bird's eye view, you notice a very, very unfortunate fact. Flav's flashbang completely blinds Coolio, who was one of the flank players who came in from mid. So Coolio comes up from heaven, has a clear sight line onto Mighty Max and should just be able to take him down. But as Flav's flashbang comes over, he gets fully blinded. Mighty Max can spin and find the frag, and it's just a complete B shutdown. And here in the 15th Endpoint, they look to put their 11th on the board. They faced up against another one of these slightly sketchy buys from Budapest 5, and they also lose that early man.
Polo's already out, and both of these players are incredibly low HP, so a chance that he could take both down and does. Fast frags, A open for business, and Budapest 5 might even want to fall back up the rear of this. It's crucial to peek maybe through that single smoke placed. Remember, Budapest 5 still have a pair of smokes for this cross if they want to go in for it, and to challenge the AWP, you definitely need them both placed. Torzy's still swinging, I must say. Mighty Max, 12 kills thus far, and playing basically that B anchor position, really impressive to have so many frags. Usually, if you're playing the B bomb site of Dust 2, you might be able to merit 7, 8 kills over the majority of a CT half. For him to be in the double digits, just playing that single bomb site, definitely being a massive impact player. The Endpoint have been relying on. This will be a Budapest 5 no map control elsewhere.
Wow, B does seem to have been the target for Budapest 5 in many of these rounds, as you say. This time, it's the A site, and Crucial posted on short. Surely they're not going to expect this one. The double smoke does come in, though, so they are able to cross safely. He needs to take a secondary peek at this one. There's that Molotov's posted and Fleeve in position. He's going to be able to find that kill, and it leaves it all down to Mighty Max. A 1-on-3 situation. The flash comes over, the smoke deployed, but I'm not sure what you can get done here.
There was an incendiary actually denying that bomb plant there. So Mighty Max is out in the open. If he just survives, that round could have been over. Doesn't get it done. Flav able to trade, but almost got away with that 1 versus 3 at the end of the half. Such a brainy player as well. You see him trying to back off towards that CT spawn, knowing he's not got a lot of ammo left. And I'm sure that we'll very likely see that again here. Here's that replay of the final round. You see that Molotov go in? We didn't point it out, but at the end of time, there was only 11 seconds on the board. Well, there it drops. Here, he's about to throw it. You just saw it at the end of that replay, and such a massive one to win. If he spots that bomb down in the CT spawn, the chances are he doesn't even peek into it whatsoever. It's so hard to get that info.
Yeah, those key moments like that, you've got split seconds to make these decisions. And another half where Budapest 5 are very lucky that they actually took the pistol. If they didn't, we could be looking at maybe a 13-2, something a lot more one-sided. 10-5, very dominant in Endpoint's favour, but certainly a doable one here for Budapest 5 to come back from. This is an interesting play, though, towards mid.
Just the USPSs actually get cut down initially. 1 minute 20, and with the smokes already placed, Endpoint on a charge towards a pretty open B bomb site. Only Color holding the defense. They haven't spotted him yet, but finally the information, and it's Crucial and Robin with both of the shots. Torzy, a 1 versus 4. This pistol round has fallen in Endpoint's way. Definitely had a game plan in mind, and they employ it perfectly.
You know exactly where this final man is as well. We often talk about the AWPer being really crisp on these pistol rounds, and we do see that. Surreal this round, he's got himself a 3k. Of course, Crucial, he's the man of that AWP. We saw a beautiful headshot onto that B-bomb site just to open things up there, and well, that's going to be the 11th for Endpoint. A very, very important pistol round for them to take, and in doing so, they might just be able to finish off this job. There's your parry match bonus on your deposit. Make sure you click on the banner down below if you do want to head over there. B18, gamble responsibly.
11-5 though, and Endpoint, they must be firm favourites as of this point. Budapest 5 really struggling. This force buy might determine quite a lot.
Yeah, it's actually incredibly important. If they lose this force buy, they're pretty much staring down the barrel of a 13-5, which is incredibly difficult to come back from. So this coordinated aggression definitely needs to pay off. And as Kolor finds that first, that's going to initiate the long push. This absolutely needs to work out for Endpoint.
I mean, the smoke's down. Cross going to be clean. Very little damage taken. Crucial with a headshot, and those smokes just being peppered right now. They know that Flav is up close and personal. He does steal away a shot in the meantime somehow. Bomb dropped, though, and, well, this 3 versus 3 retake going to be practically impossible. I wonder if Budapest 5 do decide to save that retrieved AK. Doesn't look like they'll do that. Of course, they've got a lot of not a lot of money, but a lot of investment carried through if they want it. Kolor drops this rifle, though. That'll be pretty much all she wrote. Definitely needs the round off the back of it, though, and they're going to bait these two players into the crossfire. It's impossible to get done, and Budapest 5 lose everything. All of those rifles torn away. It'll be upgraded pistols, perhaps, but no Kevlar, no chance here in round number 18.
That's real unfortunate. No kit in play as well, so going for that retake just wasn't really the answer, I don't feel. It's quite comical to watch that one from Endpoint's perspective, though. That A defender just left, right, strafing in the smoke, dodging all the bullets, somehow denies the plant, but it's obviously just not enough. Endpoint now 12-5 as Budapest 5 forced to go onto a full eco here. So just a couple of pistols, no utility, no Kevlar comes out. This should quite comfortably be a 13th for Endpoint. And then at that stage, Budapest 5 have to bring back effectively a flawless comeback. They'll need probably 10 in a row, maybe even 11 to get this one done. This 4B stack not paying off for them whatsoever. Endpoint feeling around towards A. I think soon they'll realise it's completely empty.
And this is something you'll see Endpoint do practically in every round. Feel for this long control. Try and get a sense of how the defense is posted. This time, B stack, they don't walk into it. This round will pretty much be perfect, I guess. An opportunity for Endpoint to survive with everything if they don't get too overzealous. You see Mighty Max going on a scavenger hunt. He actually catches a shark. Only drops the SMG. Shouldn't really matter unless they give away maybe one or more rifles. And, well, here comes the firing squad. Very fast frags there for Endpoint. You see how confident and convincing that one is. 13-5, that aforementioned scoreline. His Endpoint are just 3 away from the victory. See Flames once again doing all of the damage. A couple of eco frags there to push him not far ahead of his teammates. He's actually 16, whereas Crucial 18 frags. Those double AWPs in the first half definitely paying dividends.
Oh, even the damage done straight through the door. Kolor's got himself a P90, something we don't see all too often. In fact, I only ever really see it on Dust 2. I think it's just kind of the signature weapon of this map, isn't it?
Yeah, you've got your Silver Elite Master Badge, your P90, your Dust 2, all come hand in hand. That's your CSGO starting kit, so to say.
It is, yeah. Only Q Dust 2. I only played Dust 2 for probably the first maybe 1,000, maybe 1,200 hours of playing Counter-Strike.
Jeez, I feel like a lot of people kind of fall into that category, don't they? This is also a horrible angle to get counted from mid if you've got a P90 in hand. Obviously, Endpoint aren't coming from the middle of the map. Only Surreal, who hasn't been spotted. How has he snuck into this position? He got all his way through double doors, and now the P90 finally has been found, but with Surreal finding that one and the P90 in the open, this B defense should certainly fall, especially with Coolio. Way too many angles to check. It's already a 3 versus 2 with this curly letter crumbling. The AWP potentially needs to save if Corey can't do a lot on this entry, and he can't. It's Surreal and Crucial both finding kills. Crucial actually surviving on 1 point of health there.
Incredibly lucky. Surreal, he's really the insurance policy there. If Mighty Max doesn't trade out that frag on the close P90 player in the hands of Kolor, then Surreal can just get him in the back, and then that's their free avenue onto this B-bomb site. And as you say, I just have no idea how he's even managed to sneak his way into that position. It's such a powerful spot to be in. And for Budapest 5 to have very, very narrowly let him slip through pretty much means that there's no way they're going to clear that corner. And this is going to be full team for Endpoint, an incredibly one-sided affair. It all really does come down to whether they can close this one out swiftly and actually just have a very, very dominant map, or whether Budapest 5 do find their footing on this CT side and do actually start to claw a few back, maybe keep this one in contention.
And I've got to say, that seems to be the case. Endpoint have done nothing that would lead to me believing that they're going to blunder a bunch of rounds before this one ends. They lost the first 3 rounds of this map. That pistol trio that we often see, it's a bit of a coin flip, a bit of a 50-50. And Endpoint, since then, they've only lost 2 out of the last 16 rounds. They might be about to get to 16 themselves. That's before Budapest 5 are realistically off the starting grid. Torsi forced off the angle. It's a blind shot to open up. He's got the incendiary down, and well, that's going to save his life for at least a couple more moments.
Oh, Crucial returns the favour. I do like that from Torsi, though. When you get a flash, rather than just dropping away, go for a cheeky pop shot before you drop. And he's still hungry for more. He's actually wrapped all the way back around. No idea how he's got away with that one. Crucial. That should be a shot that he's hitting as he was posted on the angle. Maybe just coming in from a position that he wasn't expecting.
And nobody there to trade it either. Endpoint, just this trio of T's stuck on short. Julio, yes, he's got an angle, and the AWP to maybe help him out as well. Those Molotov don't really force him into the open. He's able to find both of the shots as a response and a trio. It's all 3 dropping. Mighty Max the last to fall, and 14-6 as B5 pick up their first successful round of this T side.
Yeah, it could definitely be a little bit of a turning point, Torsi. That's that opening shot that I mentioned. And then another one here. And as you say, for it to go untraded, it's just absolutely perfect. He doesn't actually get the information when he goes for the peak. But off of the back of him falling away, he hears the 2 players swinging. And that can give him the information he needs, relay it to his teammates. And then Coolio is able to pick up the pieces. And Torsi, once again, opening things up beautifully. He's hitting all the shots here with this AWP in the last couple.
He is, and maybe Crucial just getting a little bit startled there, not expecting that AWP peak towards short. Maybe a little bit of tunnel vision, perhaps. Minute 25, you never know where a lot of these AWPers are actually looking. Sometimes not even scoped in a lot of the time. 1 minute 20. Endpoint, maybe preferential treatment towards the B split, and the smokes go down, leading me to believe that that's exactly what they're going for. Shouldn't check Flave, so he's got the back angle, and 2 quick kills there is going to shut down the mid-prod of this attack. Robin finds a couple in the meantime, as Crucial still wants to swing through before the smoke dissipates, of course. Knows that there's a secondary member on that angle. That's enough of a bait for Torsi to go for the swing. It's Robin versus a pair of them, and well, Flave is able to take him down as well. That'll be another round for Budapest 5, but such a tear of rounds needed before they're even back in the picture.
That's unfortunate. So much damage dealt there, but headshots on neither. And Endpoint seemed to come incredibly close, but just the perfect bait and switch to take down Crucial. Budapest 5, they're clawing it back round at a time. We talked a lot, in fact, about how in these scenarios you just have to get the scoreline out of your head and just play it round by round. That's exactly what Budapest 5 need to be doing here, and they're allowed a little bit of a freebie in the 22nd, or at least they should be. These pistols, oh my, doing so much damage.
They've actually traded more than evenly there. That actually gives an AWP over to Crucial as well. He's full HP, and with no body armor, shouldn't really be too much of a negative. He's got the bomb, watching away this angle. That could have been the crucial kill, though. Coolio able to fall back. Endpoint 1 away from 15. And if B5 are going to struggle to even compete with the pistols, what happens when Endpoint decide to rinse and repeat that with a couple of AKs in the equation? This time, they don't have the smokes, most importantly, for this cross. I would sometimes prefer to back off of this angle, but Color likely a very powerful position here. Quick kill, gets traded. That's a lovely configuration there from Endpoint. Just to trade 1-for-1, and it's the low HP player as well. That is perfectly thought out and puts them in a favorable 1 versus 2 here. Nade is great, but it's against Crucial's AWP, and once again can take this swing after the smoke is placed, as Coolio needs both of these shots. It's a freebie, but Robin, stuck in Goose, just needs 1 headshot to finish, and he won't even be checked. It's Robin to seal away the 15th, pick up the AWP, and what a flawlessly played round from Endpoint. They did so much right there.
They absolutely did. And in a 1 versus 1 situation like that, with no information, so many angles to check on that A-bomb site, Goose is often just overlooked. Round 23 could be where this one finishes. As Endpoint, they've got a massive firepower advantage. They do go up against that MP9 on Coolio, just that 5.7 on Corey. They've got the AKs, that AWP to work with, and they are on a tear.
And I've got to say that Kolor hasn't had enough for an AWP throughout this half. As a secondary AWPer, you'd occasionally expect him to be whipping it out, but the money has been horrendous. We've seen occasionally Torzi getting one through, but CT side so costly to buy, and this might be Budapest 5's last lifeline in this best of one before they get shut down to that elimination bracket match. That'll be happening tomorrow. We'll see Endpoint versus Forza next. They can find 1 out of 8. Lovely angle from Crucial here. Isn't going to find anything yet, but the longer he waits, the higher the chance that B5 will try and get greedy. They've already taken a lot of damage in these initial engagements. You can see Endpoint just chipping away at these opponents. Smoke should come through, and well, Flav is basically the only man to try and defend this A-bomb site here. Flame's even forcing the 5-7 away. This might all be over.
Endpoint Forza will certainly be an incredibly exciting matchup. Of course, we have to get there first, though. And Torzi in this goose angle got a lot to contend with. He needs to find the frags here, and there's the first.
Oh, quick kills as well. Converts with the headshots. Robin drops. Might give Budapest 5 another lifeline as they still have to contend with this AWP double AK scenario. Mighty Max back in passive. Hits a headshot before falling. There goes the aggressive swing. Definitely not needed here from the CTs. Flames doesn't get away with it though, as they should know where Crucial's playing from. Tucked away in the corner. Taken down. Endpoint don't have great money here, so with 7 rounds left to face, this might be a freebie.
Absolutely should be, and it really comes off the back of Torzi right there. Lands that first headshot, then even while fully blind, gets the second. And this retake, it's just too strong, of course. In fact, it's not even really a retake, just a rotation. Endpoint, they're not allowed any more than just a couple of headshots. And they actually go for a force here in the 24. They're not going to drop down to the eco just yet. This is a dangerous game to be playing, because if this doesn't work out for them, they don't really have a loss bonus built up either. So yeah, they'll be on an eco in the next. Budapest 5 could definitely get themselves to double digits, and this could be somewhat of an acceptable scoreline, and maybe even back in contention.
Could certainly be the case. Short control, I would have expected them to voyage towards long. That's where they've had most of their early successes in these lower buy rounds. Maybe thinking that Budapest 5 will patch up those gaps. I don't know how that's possible, though. They had a triple man stack on long last time they lost it. Maybe playing these more passive positions might even favor them. Flav through that smoke, couple of shots off, but still wants to get pop flashed over, I presume. There it comes. When's the swing coming from? To see Surreal kind of playing the anti-flash position. Now inside the smoke, heard the footsteps, cannot contest it. He is such a sneaky man, isn't he? All the way through mid. Does actually get spotted. A little bit too late, though. Gives away Kolor's position. And at the back of this B-bomb site, he is going to get swept away. Flame follows. And this might all fall apart due to the half-buy here from Endpoint. This was a full force. And with Torzi and AWP in hand, how do they get back into this B-bomb site? How does this map not end right here? Tries to trade it up to an M4A4, does so, but with Mighty Max up close and personal, he's playing the responsive angle, and he will finish off this map 16-8, as Endpoint have done it very convincingly.
Yeah, that's absolutely beautiful. I started to fear for them there if that force buy doesn't work out. As I mentioned, Budapest 5, they could get to double digits and beyond. But no, absolutely no chance. Crucial, even with that AK in hand, is hitting the headshots. And he pretty much single-handedly takes that one for them.
He absolutely does. That's map 2 over. Of course, we've seen 2 best of ones here today. Next, we'll see that winners match. Endpoint 4s are coming after the break. I'm excited. Hope you are too. We'll see you in a mo.